There are so many great games on PS Plus Premium and PS Plus Extra to choose from, and if you're like me, you'll just find yourself scrolling endlessly and suffering from extreme decision paralysis. Well, I'm going to try and help you in this video. I've picked out 7 games that are great and fun, and of course, quite an easy platinum trophy, so you can earn small platinum trophies and add them to your collection. The first game is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This game kind of underperformed. I think it was off the back of Avengers. People were a little bit hesitant to jump on the next superhero game and get their fix, especially by the same company that published Avengers. Generally, it's a third-person shooter. You take control of Starlord. You have the Guardians at your disposal, which you can activate their special abilities in your combat to make it even better. And it's just a traditional Guardians of the Galaxy storyline. Go face up against some sort of extreme intergalactic bad guy that's going to result in the end of society and civilization. The stakes are quite high in this game, I have to say, and the story is pretty good. It's not a long story, you can finish it in about 15 hours, and the Platinum Trophy is only about 20 hours, but it is a great game and the story is excellent, and the designs and so much work has went into this game, from the environments to the character design. Really is beautiful, this game, especially if you compare it to the likes of Avengers. And there's some really funny dialogue and engagement between the teams as you just casually walk from one action point to the next. You really get to build a rapport with all of these characters and really care for them as you progress through the story. And of course, there's plenty of conflicts in this game between the members, and that just adds to the story and makes the game just so much more immersive. Back to the Platinum Trophy and the trophy list. All you've got to do is finish the game. Very straightforward. There's a few trophies that are tied to one decision early on in the game, but you can just go back and replay that. There has been reported some glitches with the collectibles on this game, unfortunately, so what I would recommend to do is, sadly, is just to use the collectible guide through your first run. The trophy glitches because if you try and do a replay of the main game, some of the collectibles just either don't pop, or they're not there, or you get them all and they just will not track it correctly, so you either have to do the full game, blind run, enjoy the game, but then start a brand new save for your cleanup. So it depends on how you want to play it. If you want to do it that way, it is going to take you closer to 30 hours, but if you use it with a guide, it'll take you 15 to 20 hours. There's a couple of combat trophies which can be frustrating because you have to activate one of the guardians who you don't control some of their abilities, and I did find myself spending an hour or 2 hours just trying to get this one combat animation to activate. That is a little bit frustrating, but that doesn't take away from how fantastic this game is, and I do really recommend this Platinum Trophy. Next we have South Park: The Stick of Truth. This is the first South Park game that came to the PlayStation 4, and it is a turn-based RPG game based on the Stick of Truth, of course. Very much medieval fantasy setting, well, within reason. Of course, you're still in South Park in Colorado, but the kids all take the personas of medieval fantasy characters, and this game is hilarious. If you like South Park, you will love the humor in this game. As someone who absolutely loves South Park, I think it's one of the funniest and the most relevant comedies still going to this day. I think if you enjoy it, you'll really love this game. The Platinum Trophy is a little bit more complicated than Guardians of the Galaxy, unfortunately. You have to play the game, but there's quite a few presets there involved. So there's quite a few missable trophies in this game, as you can see here. It might be worth just taking a screenshot of this or making sure you have a guide, because I can't recommend playing this game without a guide because there's so many missables. The ones of note I would have said are for the hoarder, which means you cannot sell a single item in your inventory until you finish the game. So it's just something that you can pay attention to. And then secondly, there is one for making sure no members of your party are knocked out in any combat encounter throughout the whole game, which sounds complicated, but because you can play this game on easy, that makes it mean it's absolutely fine. And of course you can use backup save just to make sure that if you do make a mistake, then you can just reload. Next we have Moving Out, which is just such a cute, quirky looking game. You basically just move furniture out of houses. That is the essence of this game. It can be played in pure single player, but of course in cooperative, and that is the way this game is supposed to be experienced. And you'll have a lot of fun trying to solve these puzzles, get the time limits, and just complete every level with your friends or by yourself. Which is going to have you scratching your head at times, going to leave you a little bit frustrated, but it's a pretty easy game, coming in at a 3 out of 10, and only 15 hours to earn the Platinum Trophy. And all you've got to do again for this game is just finish the game. That'll get you the big bulk of the trophies. Then after that, there is a few more specific trophies, like finishing a level in under 5 seconds, but again, there'll be guides out there how to do that. And of course, with it being a 3 out of 10, none of these miscellaneous trophies that are tied after you finish the game are difficult at all. Next, we've got Kona, which is a narrative-driven game where you play as a private eye, and you basically just go to solve, a very generic, very easy, simple case. And as these games and as these stories always transpire, it's a little bit more complicated than it initially seemed. It's quite a chilly game, a little bit eerie, there's a bit of mystery there, it's about murder, and you just take control of Carl Ferber as you try and solve this game. But what I love about this game is, firstly, there's 2 versions of this game in initially just initial first person on the PlayStation 4, but also you can play this game entirely on the PlayStation VR version. That VR version is not included on PS Plus Extra or PS Plus Premium, but if you have a VR, it is probably a better way to experience this game. This game was made in the Unity engine, which I think is awesome for somebody who has been looking quite a lot into the Unity engine as of late. And I think, although it's not a really beautiful, eye-grabbing game in the sense of how good the graphic fidelity is, it just has a really great charm about it. It just looks really fantastic to me. Every area looks well designed, and it's just got a great art style. And the fact you can drive around, it's open world, you can just see everything that the game has to offer, I think is really fantastic. And the game itself, again, it's really straightforward. All you've really got to do is finish the main game, and then once you finish the main game, you just have to go around and do some cleanup to get the Platinum Trophy. There's a few missables you will have to pay attention to throughout your playthrough, but again, just having a guide up while you play through it. The Platinum Trophy is only 10 hours, and that includes the post-game miscellaneous stuff, so having a guide up just as you quickly look through every half an hour or so over a 5-hour story is no inconvenience really. And it's just a different, more laid-back approach, and that's what I want to do with these videos, is just try and include a variety of games so there's something in it for everybody. Next we have a blast from the past in Medieval. This game was originally a PlayStation 1 title, and unlike many developers that just kind of remaster it and bring it back in its PS1 glory, they've done a full reboot of this game so you can play it in full PlayStation 4 glory. And if you're like me and you love member berries, I know we all love a bit of nostalgia, you can jump back into one of these games from your childhood and have some fun with it. Now I will say, being totally honest with you, this game did have somewhat mixed reviews because they didn't really change much from it, so it is very much still a PlayStation 1 game in terms of game mechanics. So some people have criticised it not being as recent and as good as games that come out today, but you know, it's a blast from the past, and it's a really easy Platinum Trophy that will only take you 15 hours, and it's a 3 out of 10. It will require 2 playthroughs, and all you've got to do is finish each stage and get all of the chalices and all the weapons. And then again, just like most of the games on this list, which are quite easy, there's just quite a big substantial list of miscellaneous you have to do once you finish the game. Combat related and things like that, I try and activate a cheat, things like that. It really isn't difficult at all, and if you want to jump back into the past, this game is for you. Next, we've got one of my favourite games on the PlayStation 4, which is Ghost of Tsushima. I know a lot of people have played this game, but if you have not played this game, the Director's Cut is available for you to experience the entire package that Sucker Punch has delivered to you in this game. I would say it's probably one of the best, if not the best, open world game that we've really experienced in terms of a third person, still story based. So it's not an RPG. You take control of Jin, and he's conflicted between the way of the samurai and the way of the ghost or the ninja, and he has to try and save Tsushima from the Mongol invasion. And it's just such a great story. It's so immersive. The combat is phenomenal, and there's just so much going on in this game. It is really fantastic. If you haven't played this game, honestly, you're doing yourself a disservice, because it's one of the best games that's ever come out of all time, I would probably say. Now, it's a 3 out of 10 difficulty. You can play the whole game on easy, and there's only one playthrough required, and there's quite a lot of cleanup involved. I have to say, it's an open world game. All you've got to do is just do all the main missions, all the side missions, and then there's some collectibles to achieve. And there is quite a few, I'm not going to lie to you. You're probably going to spend, of the 40 hours it takes to platinum this game, a good 15 hours just doing side missions and cleanup and collectibles, but it's not too difficult. It's not like some of the older games, but there's still quite a lot there. And if you want to do the DLC as well, then you can absolutely go for it. The online stuff is a little bit more challenging, and it's quite the grind. It took me about 50 hours just to do the online trophies, but if you're not bothered about any of that stuff, you're just bothered about the Platinum Trophy, you'll have a great time doing this. And as well, Iki Island is a fantastic piece of DLC. Our final game is Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. Now, this game came out in 2012, and at the time it was one of the most, if not the most expensive game ever made. And although it was received quite well at the time, I don't think it quite delivered on the income and the profits they were actually expecting, just purely because of the amount of cost that was required in this game. It's an open world RPG, very cool, very 3D, but also like a cute sort of graphic style, which I think is really enjoyable and is quite refreshing. It has aged. Now I have to say, now it's a re-reckoning. It's very much a remaster, not a reboot. So you have to consider that. Even when it came out in 2012, it looked a couple of years dated. So even playing it now in its 4K glory, it still looks like an older game. You have to bear that in mind, especially in terms of the animations. They all do look a little bit jarring, a little bit staggered, but it doesn't take away from how fantastic this RPG game is. Of course, generic RPG style, you are the one. You end up dying and you're revived by the Well of Souls. You're basically just a superhero from that point, going around completing the main quest, the side quests, and there's an amazing reckoning mode in this game which just really improves the combat and makes it somewhat unique. You know, people have done this sort of powered up form before, but it does help enhance the combat, and there's so much variety in the combat in terms of enemy design that you will have a lot of fun doing this. Now, I always try and include a slightly longer game in these lists, because Kingdoms of Amalur, even though it's a 3 out of 10, it's a 70-hour platinum, and there is 2 or 3 DLCs which will take you around 5 to 10 hours each. So if you want to do the 100%, it is 100 hours, but that's kind of part of the parcel of playing these big RPG games. They are long, there's a lot of content in them, and they will really provide their money's worth, and you'll have a great time doing it, and Kingdoms of Amalur is one of these games. There you have it. There was 7 easy, fun, rewarding platinum trophies you can earn from PS Plus Extra or PS Plus Premium. Let me know if you've played any of these games before, or let me know if you plan on playing any of them. There's quite a variety on this list. I hope there's a game out there for you. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.